Welcome back to World Crisis Radio. Now, the deep disillusionment of sectors of left liberal opinion after the Kucinich betrayal, after the parallel betrayal of this Lynn Woolsey, the head of the Progressive Caucus, after the massive betrayal, because many of these leftists went along and voted for it. Jane Hampshire responds. She reminds us that in July of 2009, she got 65 members of Congress to pledge to vote against any bill that had no public option. Again, that's already a great, weak position to take. Donna Edwards here in Prince George's County near Washington, D.C. Congresswoman Donna Edwards comes on and suggested that the Netroots, that online supporters raise $430,000 to thank these wonderful progressive Democrats. So Kucinich and Donna Edwards take their cut of the $430,000 as a thank you for this wonderful pledge. And now, of course, they've broken their promise. They've repudiated the pledge. Kucinich says he will pay back that money. The others apparently not. Donna Edwards apparently not. She was just on the Kojo Namadi show here in Washington, D.C. this Friday afternoon. So complete hypocrisy, complete betrayal by the so-called left wing of the Democratic Party. What it points to is that the Republican Party is a useless carcass. The Democratic Party is also a useless carcass. They are equally reprehensible, equally deplorable. We need a third party, third way, third organization, proto-party, programmatic group, something of this sort. And now here's what Ham writes. She says, the claims made by the administration about the virtues of the health care bill are outright fabrications, as Marcy Miller has documented in her online post entitled Health Care and the Road to Neo-Feudalism. This bill does not control either insurance premiums or health care costs. Again, forget the health care costs. That's not our concern in the immediate. But forcing 31 million people to buy a product they don't want and can't afford to use does not constitute health care reform. Once again, the poor get used as human shields so corporations can be the beneficiaries of a massive government bailout. And again, it's Wall Street that runs these insurance companies, so corporations is also rather diffuse, but at least the general direction is clear. Rather than actually helping the poor, writes Jane Hampshire in Fire Dog Lake, this bill is a dangerous and unprecedented step on the road to the domination of government by private corporate players who use it to suppress competition and secure their profits. The textbook definition of fascism. Yes, it's absolutely correct. The state-sponsored, government-sponsored compulsory cartel to drive down payments to the health care providers and to prop up the derivatives and so forth while reducing service to the public is such an exercise in suppressing competition and securing profits. So good. The problem is these are the people who supported Obama so stridently, although, of course, the Fire Dog Lake had some significant reservations about Obama. So now she says that she is reconsidering her entire approach to politics. Right. So there's a good quote in here. Right. She's forced now to re-examine. The thing I have learned above all else in this campaign, writes Jane Hampshire, is that the corporate control of government is much more extensive than I ever imagined, and the tools we have to fight its influence are ineffective. So she has to reevaluate what she's been doing. Of course, it's Wall Street domination, corporate in general, much too diffuse, Wall Street specifically. But I would hope that various areas of left liberal opinion would now realize that, and I think this column here indicates that she's gone rather far in this direction, that Obama is this sinister figure that some of us have been saying for quite a while, about 2 years or more, since January 7th, 2008. It's getting on to 2.25 years at this point. So that's where we stand with that. On the Republican side, you can see the Republican strategy. they started with an array of themes, right? Last August, there were moments in this debate where Republicans, including McCain, forced votes in the Senate on the $500 billion of Medicare cuts. There was a general awareness coming from people like Dick Morris, an unsavory figure, but nevertheless a successful manipulator in the tradition of Lee Atwater, Karl Rove, and others like Plouffe and Favreau. Dick Morris pointed out that the way to defeat the Obama bill was to turn the senior citizens against it, the over 65s, to convince them, to show them that the $500 billion in Medicare cuts was a threat to their lives and their future well-being. That is to say, an effective Republican strategy would have concentrated on saying, don't let Obama take your Medicare away. That's effective. Instead, you saw, as the debate went on, that you heard less and less about that, and more of the wild, reactionary Yahoo charges. Oh, it's communism. Oh, it's socialism. And above all, government takeover, government takeover, government takeover. Well, I'm sorry. It's not a government takeover of health care. It's a takeover of government by the insurance companies and by Big Pharma. Don't forget them. Big Pharma is now shielded from any future attempt to import drugs from Europe, Canada, Japan, where they're just as good as they are here or better, with better inspections. That's taboo. We can't be sure what they have out there. What they have out there is better than what you have here, but forget that. This has been bargained away by Obama before anything else started. So it is essentially the federal government turned into a tool of Big Pharma to keep out foreign competitors, right? A cartel in that sense, and then the insurance cartel that we've talked about just a minute ago. So the Republican slogan, this constant litany, government takeover, this is not effective. Nobody cares. People want access to health care, and whether it's a government bureaucracy or a private sector bureaucracy means very little to the average person. So the Republicans essentially deliberately narrowed their own base. It's similar to what the Republican operatives did now with their manipulation and duping of the Tea Party. They made the Tea Party as narrow as they could. That is to say, there were no Ron Paul people at the Tea Party. There were no Puma Democrats. There was no anti-war in any way. You had to be a warmonger to get into the Tea Party. This makes no sense. Now, let's just look at the interesting example here. Washington last Saturday, the Saturday before the big vote on the Sunday, we had two demonstrations going on. We had the teabaggers at the Capitol, and then we had the peaceniks at the White House. Now, let's look at the teabaggers first. I had the opportunity to visit both of these. The thing that you see with the teabaggers is, of course, this is a lily-white group. This is a rather comfortable, rather well-heeled middle-class group. The main thing you see with the Tea Party is that these are retired military. I had a chance to talk to quite a few of them, and lo and behold, in the course of most conversations, it would turn out that this was retired military. They would come with their hats, the ship that they were on, their Army or Marines T-shirt at all ages, and so forth. They're retired military. So what does that mean? It means that they have got their piece of the federal budget. They're all on U.S. government military pensions. They're all available to get TRICARE or Veterans Administration medical care. There's an element of hypocrisy in this, and I'm sorry, which is I've got my piece of the federal budget. I've got my pension. I've got my health care for life, and you can be damned. The 30 or 40 million they don't care about. So there's essentially an element of bad faith at the heart of this. And, of course, the people running this are all Republican operatives. They're all Republican think tankers, right? We've gone through it before. Richard Mellon Scaife, Competitive Enterprise Institute, Heartland Institute, Dick Armey, Republican leader. They're all a bunch of Republicans. So they're a bunch of Republicans who are military veterans, and they've got their pensions and their health care taken care of. And we'll be back in a minute on World Crisis Radio.